Hello, everybody, and welcome to the True Love Talk channel. As you know, here we want to learn about human sexuality, love, life, family, all of this from the point of view of the Catholic Church, especially the teachings that Pope John Paul II left in the theology of the body. I am Elisa, and today we're going to have our 10th video of the series Mulieris Dignitatem. And today we're going to talk about the redemption, this new and eternal covenant that God signed with us when He died on the cross. So, before we begin, let's remember that if you like this kind of content, please subscribe and please ding the bell to get the notifications when we have new content. Also, if you like this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up, and if you think it's useful for anybody, please share it. But well, with that being said, let's begin. So, when we talk about this new and eternal covenant, the first thing we can talk about is what is it about? What's the point of it? And the point is to give us back our nature, right? God wants to restore human nature and also restore his relationship with us so we can be saints. And when being saints, we can fulfill this first covenant, right, that we've been talking about in the last videos. As you know, is be fruitful and multiply, work the earth and subdue it. And the point is, why is he still talking about this first covenant and why are we still working for it? Well, basically because God is perfect, so he creates perfect plans from the moment he makes the plan, basically. So if he wants to give us our best life possible, he already did, right? And that was the life we had at the beginning. So of course what he's going to do is going to lead us back to the position in which we were at the beginning so we can live that perfect life that he had planned for us. But here's the thing. As we know, the moment we broke that relationship with God, we chose death, right? Because He is, and we are because He is. He is the reason of our existence, right? He is the source of our existence. So, of course, when we're not with Him, we die. But also, we lost not only our immortality, we also lost some of theologians call this preternatural gifts. These were parts or characteristics of the human nature that we lost and that theologians talk about by analyzing Jesus's body after resurrection. So as we know from Jesus's body, it's his same body, it's the same body he had when he was alive, to the point that it still has the wounds and the marks of the cross and so on. But it looks a little bit different to the point that Mary Magdalene actually doesn't recognize him when he greets her at the entrance of the tomb, right? She thinks he's the gardener, and Jesus actually has to say, "Hey, Mary, it's me, remember?" And then she recognizes him. So he looks like himself, but not exactly, right? We know he has a normal material body and he can eat and people can hug him and everything, but it the laws of physics don't apply that well to him because he can walk through walls and appear in one place and disappear in another. And apparently, these were normal parts of the human nature that we lost the moment that we sinned. So, of course, God is trying to give us back and restore that nature so that we can be holy and we can be the people uh, he wants us to be, the people he created us to be. And when I give this kind of talks, most people, or not most people, but a lot of people ask me, why did God allow us to sin? Why, if we would die and we would suffer this much with disease and pain, and also he would have to die in the cross for us, And this would be so painful and so complicated. And what we did to the world and the rest of the universe, this is awful. Why did he allow it, right? And the point is, because if he hadn't, it would have happened like it happens in the Incredibles. I don't know. Okay, for those of you who don't know, The Incredibles is this Disney Pixar movie in which there are superhuman people with superhuman powers, right? And all of these people become superheroes. So everybody knows that there are superheroes and that they dedicate their lives to do good. But at some point, all these superheroes need to go into hiding and stop saving people because they start to be sued for the good job that they do. So let's say that a person saves a child from dying, but this superhero broke a window as he or she was saving the child. Then the owner of the window would sue the superhero because you broke my window and so on. And this happens, they start suing people, normal people, the people without the superhuman powers, start suing these superheroes because it all starts when Mr. Incredible saves, which is Mr. Incredible is the main character, as you might have imagined. He saves this man who's going to die because he has fallen from a skyscraper. And when Mr. Incredible saves him, he bruises the guy, breaks a leg or whatever, and this guy sues him, right? And when they are in court, Mr. Incredible just turns to the guy and says, "Why are you suing me? I saved your life." And the guy just turns around and says, "You didn't save my life. You ruined my death. I had chosen death. I wanted this, and you didn't let me have it." The same would have happened to to God if he didn't let us choose death, right? You told us that we were partners. You told us that we could choose what to do with ourselves, that we would co-create humanity with you, and that meant that we could make decisions about it. You told us that we could decide what happened with the rest of creation, and here we are deciding something, and you're not letting us. So that means that in the end, we are not partners, we are not equals, and we are not free. Everything happens how you want it to happen. So God, of course, had to let us do whatever He wanted, whatever we wanted, especially because let's remember that part of human dignity is tied up to um, this covenant, to the fact that He made us His partners. So in order not to degrade us, He had to let us die. But He knew that from the moment we chose death, we would regret it, right? And well, not everybody regrets it. There are lots of people who choose death on a daily basis, right? There are people who go into satanic cults because, oh yeah, Satan is so much better than you are, God, or who choose to go to hell because money is that much more important, pleasure is much more important. These are people that choose death. And yes, there's always going to be people that decide willfully and very consciously to go to hell. But there's also a lot of people, a great majority of people who don't want to go to hell and don't want to die. And the people who choose life are not going to be able to get to heaven, to be holy and to be everything that God wants them to be, and to earn that life that God is offering us if we don't have Him, if He doesn't help us, giving us the grace that we need. So this is a covenant, and a covenant is basically a contract, right? So yes, two parties, in this case God and then men, right, sign a contract saying, yes, we are going to be partners in this way and this other. God has already signed that, and He is willing to give us everything we need to sign it too. But ultimately, bottom line, it's our decision if we sign or not. So, even though God has given us enough to be saints right here on earth, we can choose to be saints and we can actually do it. we can decide not to accept the grace. We can, yeah, also decide, we can even decide to accept just a little bit of grace, not all of it, right? I am just going to be a saint up to this point, because from this point forward is just too complicated and I don't want it. It's it's too much of us and I don't want to do the effort. That is something we can do too. And there is always and possibility of making things better, or perfecting ourselves, or to be more holy, or to get more grace. Grace does not end in our lifetime. Sure, we start here, and some people have gotten to a great length of holiness in this earth, but we can always be better, right? And this is because God needs to tame our hearts, right? To give us the grace. So as soon as we accept the grace, that tames our heart. So we open ourselves up to more grace and to more holiness, right? But as I said, we can always choose to stop at whichever point we want. Something else that happens is, sure, this happens on an individual level. We each have to sign this contract willingly and individually. Nobody can choose to be a saint for us. No one can give us from their holiness, right? We have to work for it. But we also have to work, but we can work for others. I mean, this has to do from a social change. That means the person who chooses to be a saint has to give what they are receiving to others, right? So that we purify society so that others can choose grace as well. Because let's remember that we create sin structures in society, right? That justify and make this sin look normal, natural, and everybody starts sinning the same way because hey, that this is not even bad, right? So as we take grace and become more saints, we also have to work to help others become saints, right? With our actions by changing society. So this is all an individual effort, but also a communal effort, right? An effort for all of us. And that is actually why God asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, right? God was willing to give his only begotten son to death to create this new covenant with us. And he wanted to know if we were willing to do the same thing. So, of course, he told Abraham to give him his only begotten son, right, to death to create this covenant with him. And thanks to Abraham saying yes, God realized that it was worth it and that we would accept what he was giving. But that also started a historical process in the people of Israel that started to tame their hearts to accept God as God, whatever he wanted, his law, his rules, and so on, so that in the end Virgin Mary would say yes to having his child, right? To having God's child. So yes, holiness is a particular endeavor that only we can do for ourselves, but as much as we are doing it for ourselves, we're also giving everybody else a greater chance to do what's right and to accept grace. So it is both individual and also communal situation, right? Okay, so this is the topic for today. It's long enough, but in on the next videos we're going to see and analyze the role of Virgin Mary and Jesus's role in redemption and how does it work and so on. But for now we're done. So I'm very glad that you decided to stay until the end of the video. If you have any question, any comment, please leave it in the comment section below. I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you think it's useful, please share it. Please subscribe, ding the bell. And I'm very glad that you're here. Have a nice day. Lots of blessings for everybody. Bye.